The 3-year Korean War claimed at least 3 million lives and saw US and Chinese troops clash to prop up their allies on the Korean Peninsula. 70 years on, the Korean Peninsula remains a tinderbox in the absence of a permanent peace treaty. CNA's Lim Yun-suk explains.
It was the longest negotiated armistice in history. On July 27, 1953, military leaders from North Korea and China and the U.S.-led United Nations Command, the fighting parties in the 3-year Korean War, met at Panmunjom as they finally agreed to a ceasefire deal. A military armistice commission was set up to negotiate and implement the terms of the agreement. This is the unification bridge leading to the Truth Village of Panmunjom, which is only about 1.4 kilometers away from here. You need a special permit to enter that area. Now, when the armistice was signed in 1953 to technically end the Korean conflict, many Koreans thought it was temporary. They thought that there would soon be a permanent peace treaty or reunification of the two Koreas. 70 years have passed, and yet tension remains high on the Korean Peninsula. There used to be regular meetings here at Panmunjom until North Korea withdrew from the Military Armistice Commission in 1994. Retired U.S. Army officer Steve Tharp has lived for 32 years in Korea, 14 years while on active duty, including time at the UNC Military Armistice Commission, during which he met extensively with North Korean and Chinese military officers at the Joint Security Area.
Examples of things we discussed. One was the repatriation of war remains from North Korea, UNC soldiers who were killed and their remains had stayed in North Korea. A great deal of those discussions were about U.S. remains, but we even had what were allegedly the remains of 2 UK soldiers back in the fall of 1995. Another one was North Korean soldiers were swept down into the south during flood season through a river. The repatriation of the bodies or the live soldiers.
These days, the only communication channel that's still open is a hotline at Panmunjom. Even then, the North Koreans don't always answer the phone. Since the breakdown of the 2019 Hanoi summit between former U.S. President Donald Trump and the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, the isolated country has rejected all attempts at contact from South Korea. The recent incident of a U.S. soldier disappearing into the north during a tour of Panmunjom again brought the world's attention to the risks and complications of two close neighbors remaining technically at war.
The armistice agreement is in the Guinness Book of Records as the longest surviving ceasefire in the world, and 70 years is a long time for a ceasefire that was supposed to be temporary to have survived. Despite the approximately 3 million people who were killed between 1950 and 1953, the Korean War remains forgotten by many people across the world. And I've learned that war can creep up on you very easily, and we only have to look to the lessons of Ukraine in the last couple of years to see the danger and the cost if conflagration or conflict does break out.
Lim Yun-suk, CNA, Seoul.